I'm not teaching, I'm public learning, but hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 13, the Norman Conquest, by doing a bit standing yoga, participating in the physical exercises instead of August. So the last thing had happened in England before the Norman Conquest came. It was in 1066 already. I see it here, the number. In 1066, there were the Vikings. So the Vikings were coming in 789. And they then also settled a bit later, and King Alfred the Great unified the kingdoms of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms of England mostly. Yes, they just mean England, of England, and defeated the Vikings, but some Vikings still stayed, and they then mixed with the local communities. Some of them converted into Christianity. England had already converted to Christianity, the south part of Britain. Was it like this? Christianity in the south of Britain. So yes, in England was Christianity spread, for example, by missionaries led by Saint Augustine in England. Saint Columba and Saint Patrick came from Ireland and was spreading Christianity in the north. Saint Columba had founded a monastery on Iona, an island at the north of Scotland, and Saint Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland. So the Vikings also converted to Christianity, some of them, and England was ruled by Anglo-Saxon kings, but for one period also by Danish kings, and the first one of them was Canute. And the people of the north, yes, that was a bit unclear. In the north, a threat of attack by Vikings had encouraged the people to unite under one king. In the north, so that means Scotland. So in Scotland, the people united because they feared the attacks of. They did not want it to happen to them again, and they wanted to unite and to unify, to be strong enough to repel them, and under one king, and that king was Kenneth MacAlpin. And at that period, around, let's say 900, or 800, 900, the term Scotland started to be used for that region where before lived the Picts, which the Romans feared, and that is why we built the Hadrian Wall. The Norman Conquest. So in 1066, so we're already by 1066, we had the Stone Age by around 15,000 years ago, when we had the close of land bridge and when the rising of a channel. Around 10,000, around 6,000 before Christ, the first farmers came and did agriculture. And then 4,000, the Iron Age began, and people started the Bronze Age, 4,000 Bronze Age, and people started to do things out of bronze, and they made ornaments and weapons and tools also out of gold and ornament and bronze. And then after that, the Iron Age happened, so let's say 3,000, and they were doing things out of iron. They were craft workers, warriors, and they were living sometimes, so they were living in more settlements together, and sometimes in Fort Hills, for example, Maiden Castle. And what happens when the Romans came? Julius Caesar tried it in 55 before Christ. Emperor Claudius succeeded in 43 to conquer the England part, not Scotland. Emperor Hadrian then later built the Hadrian Wall to keep the Picts out of Scotland, and the Scottish people are the ancestors of Picts, and they were all speaking Celtic, and in some parts of Wales, Scotland and Ireland is still a similar language, a related language to Celtic is still spoken. But when the Romans stayed for 400 years, and 410 they left because they needed the troops somewhere else. And when the Jutes, the Angles and the Saxons came, and they lived there, and they were first, there was fight against them, against the Anglo-Saxons, but around 600 they started to build kingdoms. These Anglo-Saxon kingdoms then united under King Alfred the Great, who then repelled the Vikings, who in 789 first came, and then settled in eastern England and eastern Scotland. And King Alfred united these Anglo-Saxon kingdoms and defeated the Vikings. The Vikings, many of them still lived on and mixed with local communities. But the Scottish people also united under Kenneth MacAlpin as the first king. And from that period on, the people started to call themselves Scottish. Scotland, the term Scotland started to be used. So in the south, in England, it was King Alfred the Great who united the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, and in the north, the people united under Kenneth MacArthur. So in 1066, it goes on with war. An invasion led by William, the Duke of Normandy, and what is now northern France, defeated Harold, the Saxon King of England, at the Battle of Hastings. Okay, that's the long sentence, a lot of information. Basically every word is a new information. So the first thing, it was in 1066, 1066. In 1066, an invasion led by William, the Duke of Normandy. So there was a person whose name was William, and he was the Duke of Normandy. Duke is a royal title. So he was an important person of Normandy, and the Normandy is a region in northern France. That is too small. Here's France not on that map. So it's not a great distance from Normandy to England. He was the Duke of the northern part of France, of Normandy, and he led an invasion into England in 1066. And he defeated Harold, the Saxon king. Okay, that is clear, of England. So is Harold now an Anglo-Saxon king or just a Saxon king? Because we have the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons, and they then founded Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. And now we have here a Saxon king. Harold was an important king of England. And this Harold was defeated by William, the Duke of Normandy, in 1066 at the Battle of Hastings. That's a long sentence, and we have to know all the time that all these data happened in 1066. If we grammatically really read the sentence, it is clear. All data happened in 1066, so also the Battle of Hastings happened in 1066. But if someone doesn't know already that the Battle of Hastings happened in 1066, that long sentence is quite long to get from the introduction of a sentence from in 1076 to at the Battle of Hastings can be quite difficult for someone to know that all these data happened at the same time period, and the Battle of Hastings happened not at the same day, obviously, as the invasion, but in the same year. It could be quite difficult for someone. Let's start a bit with a standing yoga. We are doing the feet standing a bit more and shoulder wide apart. We're bringing the arms up. We're breathing in. And we're breathing out and we're leaning back. We're bringing the arms a bit down and we're opening the chest to the sky. And we're breathing in, coming up again. And we're breathing out and we're opening again the chest to the sky. And we're breathing in. And we're directly transitioning to the reed in the wind, the feet together, we're breathing in. The palms down together, and we're leaning back, breathe out. And breathe again in. And out and lean again back. And breathe again in. And out. And that was the reed in the wind. And we're going on with a moderator while we're going through that sentence with so much information. Again, so important information. We're having the feet standing almost more or less completely together, and now we're just going in front onto the toes and back onto the heels. So in 1066, William, the Duke of Normandy, led an invasion. William, the Duke of Normandy, was the Duke of Normandy, and that is in northern France. So the Duke of Normandy in northern France led in 1066 an invasion to England, and he defeated the Saxon king, so the king who had some rule in England, it's not clear what rule, but he was the Saxon king, so he was an important king, at the Battle of Hastings. So this invasion led by William, the Duke of Normandy, and that battle in which Harold, the Saxon king, was defeated by William, so William won against Harold, so William's army against Harold's army, was in 1066. The Battle of Hastings was in 1066. That is the most important thing what the sentence wants to tell us. We just have to know everything from the beginning to the end. Harold was killed in the battle. So Harold was not just defeated, but also lost his life. Harold the Saxon king. William became king of England and is known as William the Conqueror. So William, the Duke of Normandy, in northern France, is known as William the Conqueror because he led an invasion in 1066 and defeated in 1066 in the Battle of Hastings Harold, the Saxon king, who also died in the battle. And William became the king of England. That's William. William became the king of England and is known as William the Conqueror. Now let's give the warrior and also the, now let's do the triangle. Let's try the triangle. So the toes of the one leg are pointing straight forward, the others to the outside. We are lifting the arms and we are now shifting forward as far as we can. When we come down, we are taking hold onto the leg and we're looking up to the other head. And back, we're changing the position of the feet. So these toes more or less to be straight and that one like that. Breathing in and out and we're going in front. And we're going down, taking hold onto the leg and we're looking up to the right. And we're coming back in the middle. And that was a triangle. Now we can't go on with the chair and also with the other exercise because we're not warmed up enough. So let's go a bit on here and just do a monkey half lift or something like that at the end. So William became the King of England and is known as William the Conqueror. In 1066 in the Battle of Hastings, he had defeated Harold II. The battle is commemorated in a great piece of embroidery known as the Works tapestry, which can still be seen in France today. Commemorate means there's a word memorated in, so it means it is remembered to the battle. In a great piece of embroidery. Now I don't know what embroidery is or what it now means, but I know a bit more context about this, which I can't pronounce, Bordeaux tapestry, because there is now, right now in 2025, to talk about that this great piece of embroidery which commemorates the Battle of Hastings should be lent to the UK for some period of time, as a sign of friendship between the United Kingdom and France. So the battle is commemorated in a great piece of embroidery, but it's I don't really want to call it that name. It's a piece of cloth, I think, and there are things sewed in, which like a big picture, but with out of cloth, and they are sewed in the things which happened during the battle or something like that. And the name of it is Bordeaux tapestry, and that can be seen in France today. But as I said, there's some thinking about lending it to the United Kingdom, that it can be displayed in the United Kingdom, so that people cannot just visit it in France, but for at least some limited time also in the United Kingdom. Oh, there's something of it. Part of the Bordeaux tapestry, the linen cloth is nearly 70 meters. 70 meters, that is long. That is long. You need 15 seconds or something to run 70 meters. 10-15 seconds if you're fast. 230 feet long and is embroidered with colored wool. So we're having a little section of it here. So there are things of a battle picture. There are horses and there's battle happening and so on. That thing is 70 meters long. It is a piece of cloth, and there are these things of a battle suit in. Of a battle of Hastings 1066, William the Conqueror conquered England and defeated in this battle of Hastings 1066 Harold the Saxon king, who died in the battle. So that is the Bordeaux tapestry, and we're ending pretty much with that. Let's do as a final exercise, we have the feet. We are not warmed up enough to do proper yoga. We didn't do exercises properly and too much break in between. We bring the arms up. And we're doing the down dog one. We're breathing in and coming half up. We're making a straight back into monkey half lift. And breathe out again and come down. And breathe in and come again into monkey half lift. And out, back down. Breathe in and do the up diving swan. And out. Now I could repeat it all. So let's repeat it the other way around. The Bordeaux tapestry is a great piece of embroidery which can be seen in France. And that is 70 meters long. It's a piece of cloth. The linen cloth is nearly 70 meters long and is embroidered with colored wool. So embroidered is, I don't know the word properly, but sophisticated. Sophisticated means, I try to remember 3 words: intelligent, advanced, and developed. But also fancy and world-wise. So we're making it in the next episode. The people during the Iron Age were sophisticated. They had an advanced and developed and world-wise culture, something like that. had the word meant we're going back probably. So, and in that tapestry there is the Battle of Hastings, 1066, depictured, and in that battle William the Conqueror from Duke of Normandy had defeated Harold, the Saxon king, and he went on to conquer England and became King of England and is known as William the Conqueror. I thank you very much, and until next time.